I know you're a Ranger fan, and I know all the Ranger fans out there love you, and you absolutely
That's debatable.
and you absolutely hate the Islanders. Now, I understand the whole thought in your mind that bringing in somebody like that would absolutely change the whole process of what their definition of a center is, which they haven't had one in a very, very long time. Really, the last center that really stands out to me that was any good for the Rangers was Mark Messier, and that's just my opinion. But I think the problem right now with what you're saying is this kid has a neck issue. And if he does have a herniated disc, which I just had surgery for one, and I had a disc replacement, it is, first of all, it's a hit or miss if it works or if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you're going to have problems with that neck for the next 5-6 years. You're going to be dealing with on-off injuries, missing games. You're paying a guy $10.5 million. To me, where the Rangers are, the Rangers need a guy like Casey Cizikas. They need a guy, a rough end center that's going to beat the hell out of the opposing team. The problem with the Rangers wasn't skill. Okay, their defense. They have defensive problems. They do have great young defenseman in Fox. No question that they do. Miller, we don't know if he can stay healthy, and we don't know what he fully is. I mean, he's still very, very young. They have this Lindquist kid, and they have this guy, and they have that guy. We still don't, and they're overpaying for, to me, Trouba, who I think is so highly overrated. And now they're looking to make a trade for Hamilton. They're looking to do this. They're looking to do that. Who knows what they're doing, okay? I don't know what the Rangers. What? I'm sorry?
Definitely not Hamilton. Too much money.
Yeah. My question to you, okay, where you look at the Rangers and you look at the offseason, and everybody keeps talking about Jack Eichel, and let's take Jack Eichel out of this. Let's say they don't get Jack Eichel. What is the next possible move that could solidify Chris Drury's GM position as a first-time GM for the New York Rangers? Because to me, they have a lot to do. To me, they have a lot missing to this team if they're a contender, a Stanley Cup contender. Defensively, they need to add one or two defensemen to that defense, and one really quality type of defensive player. Where do you see the Rangers going if they don't land Jack Eichel?
I don't be shocked here. I don't agree with you. But at the same time, I don't argue about Casey Cizikas, who I actually like a lot. I just think Casey Cizikas is an Islander, wants to stay an Islander, and I think Lou Lamoriello is going to do what he can to keep him there. And he would be foolish because I think he knows the Rangers want him. So the Islanders have made some moves, smart moves. They freed up some cap space. That cap space is going to get eaten up real quick. I think it's a little – right now, Cap Friendly has it at about almost 19. And that's with Boychuk on long-term IR. So I think that's where they are. Eberle's not on Cap Friendly anymore. He got taken by the Kraken. That money is going to be gone quick once you give Casey Cizikas probably around $4 million. I think he's worth every penny if you give it to him. It's a raise, maybe 4.5. I don't know. Anthony Beauvillier, right? Beauvillier is fantastic, actually. Then you got to sign Pelech. Pelech's a great defenseman.
He's one of the top, I would say one of the top 7, top 8 defensive defensemen in the league.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with you. I think the Islanders need, they're talking about bringing in Suter. They're talking about bringing in Parisi.
They're cheap. They're going to be cheap.
They're cheap there. And you could also put Metamucil in the Gatorade for them, whatever they need to get get themselves going. But at the same time, I think the Islanders obviously good team. I would love Cizikas. I just don't see it happen.
I still think there's a good chance they can get Vladimir Tarasenko. I really do.
I think Tarasenko is the guy you need to get.
Yes. I think that's going to happen.
They figure it out and find the way. I think Tarasenko is the guy you need to get. I don't know what St. Louis is asking for. I don't know why 4 teams, they couldn't consummate a deal. I don't know what they were trying to do, but we'll see. And there's still time for Tarasenko to do it. And I think the Blues GM today said Vladimir needs to prepare as if he's going to play for the Blues next year. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. So who knows? for the Rangers' next moves, like I said, Jordan Martinook is somebody that they're looking for. These are the type of guys they're looking to build on that bottom line. They have Kevin Rooney. Kevin Rooney did a really good job. I think Kevin Rooney's a good guy. They still have Colin Blackwell. I'm sorry, Colin Blackwell's gone. I would have liked them to find the way to keep Colin Blackwell, but they have Morgan Barron. Morgan Barron is the type of player that can play on those bottom six lines and be effective. So they're building there. When we talk about Eichel would be a 1-2 with Mika Zibanejad, who I think is actually a great center.
Oh, I love Zibanejad. I think
not Mark Messier.
Zibanejad, to me, is their best player because he's the best two-way player on that team. So he's the best player. Panarin's awesome offensively, but Zibanejad, when he is healthy and he's at 100%, he is the best all-around player the Rangers have. No question.
I'm not going to. I think Zibanejad is really, and I think Zibanejad. I look at it and I say it one way.
I hate the Rangers. I don't like the Rangers. But if I were to choose, if I could choose any player that I would pick on that roster to play for the Islanders, it would be Mika Zibanejad. That's the guy that I would want, not Panarin. Right. And Panarin's great too. And Panarin was very close to being an Islander. And I said that's to Speedy on the show with Tyler the other day. If the Islanders had Panarin on that team this past year, the Islanders win the Stanley Cup. And so,
if they were, I'm not going to argue with you. If that was the case, they probably would get past Tampa. I mean, that's really what was lacking for the Islanders was not having enough scoring because they took them all the way to Game 7. Mm-hmm. But again, when you're talking about Eichel, you're also you're taking Strome out of the equation though. Like Strome's not there anymore. So Strome is you're upgrading Strome with Eichel. Now, I think Strome is gone. I think it sounds like from what I'm hearing, Strome is gone, Puchnevich is gone, and Georgiev wants out. Mm-hmm. He wants a chain of scenery. He wants to be a starter somewhere. So, and I'm okay with that because Keith Kincaid was actually really good and is cheap and affordable.
Long Island native.
Yeah, Georgiev makes over $2 million. There's some cap savings right there. And if you're going to bring in an Eichel, you've got to ship out the $4.5 million that Strome makes. The Rangers have no issues bringing in $10 million. They have no issues. If they move some people around, they have no issues doing it. Maybe the following year when you've got to extend Fox and Zibanejad, that's when it's going to get a little tough. Then you've got to figure out, are you going to start bridge dealing guys like Lafreniere and Kakko? You got to figure out what you're going to do with those guys. I think if Lafreniere continues on this path, you give him the 8-year deal and you just give him whatever he wants. And Kakko, just make a decision you probably
does that bother you that? And I met Kaapo Kakko. I was at the draft when he was drafted in Vancouver. Big kid, nice kid. The one thing I think he lacks is toughness. I just don't see the toughness in the kid. I understand when we watched him play in the junior, I guess the junior championships, and he was unbelievable for Team Finland. Everybody was talking about this guy being a top 40, 50 goal scorer. He was fantastic. But since he's come into the league, his skill has diminished. I understand it is the NHL. You're playing against the top talent all over the country, all over the world. So what are your thoughts? If he just with a new coach, and I like Gallant. I think Claude Gallant was a good pickup for the Rangers. I think it fits what the Rangers are trying to do. This is a guy that can help the young players grow. We saw what he did with all the different places he's actually worked at, and they've accomplished a lot. He's never gotten to that chance to winning a Stanley Cup, but he's been on the cusp of doing it. So, but. What are your thoughts with Kaapo Kakko? If he has a bad season this year, do the Rangers decide to possibly move him, or do they re-sign him? I think this is a make or break year in a third year for Kaapo Kakko.
It's a big year. I wouldn't call it make or break, but you certainly want him to take the next steps. And there was parts of his game last year that were seriously improved. And we also have to remember he did also contract COVID.
Yes,
in the middle of the year, and he's a diabetic, and there's a lot of concern with that. And he said that even when he came back, his legs were on fire. He was trying to power through. This was a hard year to judge a lot of people, to be honest with you. But I don't deny that Kakko needs to make sure he takes the next step. I think Kakko has to show he can score 20 goals this year. I really do. If he's playing on the top two lines, less than 20 goals would probably be unacceptable for me. So he's got to take the next step. And I think he can, because he's got all the skill and the talent in the world. Can Gerard Gallant take him to the next level and teach him how to play? Because I'll tell you when Kakko was most effective. Kakko was most effective when he just went to the net. Mm-hmm. And that's he loves to be on the boards and the perimeters because he's got like that Yager type style. He can control the boards. But if you control the boards and you don't really do anything with a puck, what was the point? Like if you can't make that pass, if you can't come off the boards and get a scoring chance, it's no point to it.
Anthony, you know who he reminds me of? When I watched him play at the junior championships, he reminded me of a young Teemu Selanne. His ability to put the puck in the net. He saw the ice so well. And Teemu Selanne was a sniper. He was a goal scorer. Scored 70-something goals his first year as an NHL player. He was fantastic. And he was a kindergarten teacher before he became an NHL player. So I know Teemu Selanne. I've interviewed him quite a few times. One of the nicest people you ever meet. He's a lot bigger than he looks. And that same thing with Kaapo Kakko. The guy's a giant. He really is a tall kid. The only problem with me is Teemu Selanne was mentally tough. I don't know if this kid is tough. I don't know.
We're going to find out. I mean, honestly, you're going to find out. I mean, the kid, just to be fair, man, 18 years old, left his family and came here, and there was nobody on the team that even spoke Finnish. So he had nobody to relate to. I think Tumo Ruutu or something was one of the assistants from player development. That was one person he could talk to. I know I spoke with I had friendship built with a Finnish journalist, Pasi Tuominen, who said, he struggled in his first year because he didn't have anyone to speak the language to, and he was trying to transition. I think he was better the second year around. I think he started feeling more comfortable. I think he started smiling a little bit more. He does put a ton of pressure on himself, and he's going to have to learn to ease up on himself as well. But like I said, Kakko, I'm not in any way, shape, or form disappointed. I just think there's more that's not unleashed yet, and this is the year I need to see it. If at the end of the year he's got 10 goals and 18 points, and he's been on the top two lines and playing power play,
right?
I'm gonna be like, wow, we this might not be working out. Like, what are we gonna do? And then you got to decide. You got to make a decision, because you're right. His contract will be up, and what are you gonna pay him? You're going to bridge deal him for another year or two and hope it works out. I mean, you could do that, but they got to at least see what they have.